Chapter Saba, Learning Hose. Queen stood there for a moment looking at this wakatilian that was surrounded by things to be anakata stress as wakatilian and then she says obe standing in the back of them. Confused she scratches her head, wait a minute. You're the second person I have met in the middle of this desert. What is happening that you are here also? First the old man, Mlezi, and no. Wanyenyekevu interrupted, hold on, you met Mlezi. Queen said, you know him. And he said, yes, but of course, he's the servant of Sabaoth, then dark Eagle said, that's how I knew that name. He is the man that approached your grandfather to send you here all those years ago. I knew that name. Just then, Mlezi appeared without saying a word as he walked over to running elk. Sabaoth has seen your fight and is proud of your service to him. Mlezi then touched his forehead. You shall not feel pain any longer, my friend, for it's time to come home. You have asked Sabaoth for many things, but he has noted your selflessness. He then pointed to Wanyenyekevu and waved for him to come forward. This is just the beginning of what you have asked. Sabaoth 4, light in that which breaks the darkness. Your also narrow, his name is Wanyenyekevu. Dark Eagle and Queen looked at each other when Mlezi mentioned also narrow. A group of tall men, wearing white appeared before them all as Mlezi continued, your welcoming party is here, shall we go? In tears, running elk stood up and spoke to Wanyenyekevu, it is an honor to meet you. Wanyenyekevu took the man's hand, no, the honor is mine, for I have met those whom Sabaoth has chosen, and I wish I had met you sooner. Peate surrounds you, and I hope to accomplish what you have. Running elk sighed with a smile, according to my desires. You shall do that and more, my son. The men in white surrounded running elk, and they all disappeared. Mlezi then took a seat on a large boulder. The rest of the elders, along with the warriors, might go home, for this was truly an ambush to kill you and take the land that you desire, but Sabaoth will now give you the entirety to have be yourself. An immoral people that Sabaoth shall destroy and chase the rest of them back to the place of their destruction. Queen Dark Eagle and his sons just stood there in awe as they watched what was happening. Dark Eagle, this is Libert, that Sabaoth has renamed Wanyenyekevu, son of Tablita. Mlezi sighed as he turned to Dark Eagle, you have delivered Anaya from danger, and no Sabaoth shall deliver you from danger for your obedience and loyalty to him. He looked at Queen, Anaya, you were chosen to do great works and have done a great job thus far, and Sabaoth is pleased, but now it's time for him to take control of this matter. Then he turns to Dark Eagle's sons. Those whom you call your family shall be your enemies, and those whom you have called your enemies shall be your family. Think not that your family had become your enemies, for they were your enemies before they were even your family. Don't let the sadness consume you, knowing they have already conspired to kill you as we speak. Alemwa, Kisoma, Nipahem, you are no. He pointed to each of them. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, for your bravery and humbleness from this day forward shall you be called. Sabaoth has ordained you to be the elders, for the elders that are no will all be gone before the year ends, and Dark Eagle and Wanyenyekevu shall rule this land according to Sabaoth's will. Mlezi spoke to them for 2 hours before he disappeared. Queen sat there for a few minutes thinking about what was spoken by Mlezi when wanyenyekevu approached her, smiling. Queen asked, "You mentioned earlier you don't enjoy using tename wakati. What did you mean by that?" Wanyenyekevu asked, "Is it Queen or Anaya?" Queen said, "Only my family calls me Anaya, you can call me Queen." Wanyenyekevu said, "Oh, Queen, for centuries, they have given us names to describe or talk about us, and they are afraid to call us what we are, the true children of Sabaoth. It's not only in our skin but in our DNA, which is why they have persecuted us. But they, too, can inherit the promise by faith through msheka. Through jealousy and envy, they refuse and miname. I prefer to be called wanyenyekevu, son of Tablita of the Natchez tribe. Or simply a child of the Almighty. Wanyenyekevu noticed Aldhib and the rest standing around, and he then said, "Where are my manners? Let me introduce you to my family. This is Jonathan." Aldhib gave him a look. "I am sorry, his name was Jonathan, his name is no Aldhib, his wife, Joy, and his brother Jome. Aldhib and Jome are so called anakatas. Brake, Merchi, Elisha, Elijah, and Daniel are so called computans. Mimigiti friend Obe, who was also a so called wakatilians. Since we have been together now, they have given us all a new name, mestizos, but il explain that some other time. Oh, there is another wakatilians, named Neriglisar, who is at home, he's in charge of our city, Madinat al-Tanwir. When looked at wanyenyekevu, let me get this rigged. Joy is computans, and she's married to an anakatas named Jonathan, but Sabaoth has given him the name Aldhib. Aldhib raised his hand and smiled. When slowly waved and with a confused smiled, she took a seat. "No, all the rest are computans except for that big guy named Obe." Wanyenyekevu sighed. Yes, and Obe was a bounty hunter and slave for Oedipus. Sabaoth has changed most of our names for the work he needs to be done in us and to show his people that he has not forsaken them. When said, "If he hadn't seen Mlezi, I would think you all were fools." Shaking her head, she sighed. "Sabaoth is able," wanyenyekevu replied, "he is." Looking at the time, Queen sighed. "The meeting was 2 hours ago. Please, it is going to take at least 30 more minutes to reach our destination," pointing at their skicrafts, wanyenyekevu sighed, "No, about a minute. If you hop on, we will fly there." Dark Eagle and his son steered down their horses and joined wanyenyekevu and his team on skicrafts. Wanyenyekevu reaches for Queen's hand, ready. Queen and her family had never been on such a ride, and it was scary and exciting at the same time. They stayed low enough to get to their destination but not high enough to scare them no more than they were already. Queen asks, "How did you get these skicrafts?" Aldhib said, "It was Elijah's and my ideas. We had one. Then a few we took after a few battles, and then before we knew it, we had more than we needed fixing Oedipus and his sons and just engineered them with a few extras." Wanyenyekevu smiled, "Yep, they are our local geniuses." Queen sighed as she inspected the beak. "How are they so quiet?" Jonathan and Queen started talking about engineering, and Wanyenyekevu was impressed by Queen's intelligence. Upon arrival, the people stared at them and questioned themselves as they parked near the entrance of the meeting hall. "Where Did they get those fancy crafts? Uho are these neupeople? Are they wakatilians, computans, or anakatas? Queen and Dark Eagle led the group into meeting chamber. They looked as if they were not even expecting us, sighed Dark Eagle. Wanyenyekevu saw everything but he was forced to keep quiet until danger arose. I will let you speak until it's time for me to speak. Trust me, please, for Sabaoth has shown me everything. Fear not what you say, for Sabaoth has given us gifts that will amaze you, and you and yours shall receive your gift when Sabaoth deems you ready. Queen did not truly understand, but looked at Dark Eagle, and they both looked at Wanyenyekevu ok. Wanyenyekevu looked around as he entered and took inventory of the men and weapons. There were 60 civilians and 30 armed men that surrounded the compound walls. 6 men stood in the hallways as they entered the chambers, 2 at the door and 6 inside. As he walked inside, a long marble-shaped table stood in the center of the room with 24 chairs on either side of the table. As they walked toward the table, down a small aisle, Wanyenyekevu noted an Albanian patting at the back of the table. It was apparent he was furious at their delay. As they walked in, he shouted, "Do you think we have all day to wait on your motherfucking asses?" Queen tried to keep her composure as she began to speak, sorry, but was rudely interrupted. Where are the elders? It is they who make the decisions. Is that not true? And who the fuck are these motherfuckers here? Queen began to speak again before Dark Eagle grabbed her arm. We will not be disrespected any further. Either you speak to us in a respectful manner, or we will leave. The Albanian shouted, leave. Leave. Motherfucker, you're about to die. We'll kill the elders after we're finished with you. Wanyenyekevu touched Dark Eagle and Queen as the Albanian shouted, guards. The guards outside the door and all the guards inside the chamber's hallways entered. Wanyenyekevu sighed, wait a minute, no. This is not a firefight, you have 8 arms, 3 legs and a tail. You must have one hell of a reach, don't you? His comments confused Queen and the guards as he continued, when we are finished, the entire room shall die, and not one of us will have to break a sweat doing so. The Albanian sighed as he looked at himself in a mirror while the guard stood in the ready position, confused. What do you speak about, little man, and who are you? Wanyenyekevu smiled, I am Sabaoth's messenger, and we are your worst enemies. Oedipus and Abeni Bondoa Sita have perished because of me and my men, and so shall you and your men. The Albanian opened its mouth to say something, but before he could get a word out, Wanyenyekevu threw a star, which struck the Albanian in his throat. As he grabbed his throat, he threw another one, and it penetrated the center of his skull, falling to the ground, revealing its identity before it incinerated into a puff of dark smoke. Wanyenyekevu shouted, Iwa! The guards surrounded them and attacked, but Grate ratted towards them and slit each of their throats as they stood there gasping for air and holding their necks while the rest of the warriors killed them. They destroyed everyone in sight and left not one of them alive. Dark Eagle and his family just stood there in awe as Wanyenyekevu sighed to Obe, yo guys take care of the rest while me and Grace look around with Dark Eagle and Queen. Grake, with great speed, ratted through the area, searching documents and computer files and checking for helpful information. I think you guys need to take a look at this. Grake sighed as she handed some documents to wanyenyekevu. Wanyenyekevu looked over the documents and handed them over to Dark Eagle. I don't know this people, but it sounds like you have a big problem at home. Just then, Obe walked in with the rest. What about the civilians? Same as usual, let's say whose heart is in the rigged plate, wanyenyekevu sighed. As a matter of fact, it looks like there is a need for some spring cleaning at Dark Eagle's camp. So, I will hand the civilians, need you and Daniel to take half of the men back home and send Amardak to the keeper this information ASAP. The rest will stay here. I will take Dark Eagle and Queen back to their horses and return as soon as possible myself. Dark Eagle took the documents. I have to sit down. This last few minutes have me. Queen and her cousins talk as at next to Dark Eagle. Confused, Queen said, you want to explain to us what just happened? Oh. Wanyenyekevu smiled, Sabaoth, but I will explain it all on the read back to your chiti. But I must first check the civilians. The men, women, and children all stood in a line waiting for wanyenyekevu. I am not here to harm you, unless you try to harm me, but I need to speak to each of you before I leave. Wanyenyekevu took less than 30 minutes to say all the people living at the city. He chose 20 people to stay while 14 the rest to leave. Daniel, Jome, and Elisha escorted the people out of the area while the rest were questioned and released. Wanyenyekevu prepared to leave alongside the Dark Eagle, for Obe and Daniel had already left, leaving the rest behind to get rid of the bodies. A hig officer, a family member, and a dear old friend are the masterminds behind the trafficking in the area, and it breaks my heart, said Dark Eagle with a heavy heart. As he gets on the ski-craft, a young lady approaches Wanyenyekevu. Excuse me, sir. Wanyenyekevu smiles yes with tears in her eyes. She continues, my husband was escorted out, and I remain here. There must be some mistake. Wanyenyekevu looked at the woman. Your husband has an evil heart and cannot and will not stay among us. The lady fell to the ground sobbing. Wanyenyekevu got off the ski-craft and sat down on the ground with the lady. You may go with your husband. You are not forced to stay here, but for me to allow such a man to live among us would be like allowing an infection to live within our body. Eventually it will grow and consume us all. I tell you what, go and say if his heart changes. If so, he may stay. If not, he will continue to be an outcast, but you can come back. The lady got up. He can change, ignore it, as she ran after her husband. Wanyenyekevu shouted, what is your name? She shouted back, Lila. Jome, Merchi, Elisha, and Elijah assisted Wanyenyekevu with transporting Dark Eagle and his family to their horses. They headed back to the new location. They now called the watchtower and rushed back to finish helping with the cleanup. Wanyenyekevu stayed and drove his ski-craft alongside the Queen as they headed back to Tucson. We've been waiting, correction, we've been waiting for you to explain the things we've seen today, and what is this? You are talking about you killed an Albanian and Oedipus. He's the most ruthless man in dead man's land, Queen said before Wanyenyekevu interrupted, it's called Sabaoth's land no. Yes, we killed Oedipus and Abeni Bondoa Sita, and no, whatever the one back there was named. Tese sokaled abenians are the fallen angels of Sabaoth who have come to destroy Sabaoth's people. He was born Libert, and him from Lake Providence, Louisiana, as he mentioned before, and on a day he had a dream that was so real, and a man appeared before me, and he was Mlezi, but he was a wolf. Wanyenyekevu explained his entire story to them, and they all talked until they reached the front gate of their community. Wanyenyekevu devised a plan so that no one would see Dark Eagle, just Queen, and her cousins. Dark Eagle escorted Wanyenyekevu to a small hut in the back of his house. I believe you would be more comfortable here than in the house plus. This is where I come to meditate and get away. You may stay here for the night, everything you need is here, and when super is ready, I'll have someone to come get you. Wanyenyekevu talked for a moment and said to Dark Eagle, "Thank you, unsure how long I will stay, but tell no one about what we have discovered. Just call for a meeting for the entire community, let's say none." Dark Eagle agreed as he walked toward the house. Ik know me wife knows be no with Queen in the boys intere, but she is faithful, and I'll tell the rest to keep it hush until tomorrow. Wanyenyekevu immediately gets on his communicator. Obe replied, "Go ahead." Wanyenyekevu asks, "You still at Madinat al-Tanwir?" Obe replied, "No, I'm at the watchtower. Amardad has located a list of names and functions in one of the largest trafficking rings I have ever seen. They were the main one sending them to Oedipus." Wanyenyekevu said, "Tell Amardad." Amardad interrupted, "I'm here, go ahead." Wanyenyekevu continues, "Whatever you find, just continue to do at your leisure, but I need Obe and the rest of them to be here about saa 11 na madakika 30 and I need a few more people there to protect the watchtower." Obe returned by saying, "Neridlisar was way ahead of you, sent back 25 men, ready to go when we got there." Wanyenyekevu laughed, "One speedster and at last one healer, I bet unsure, if we can reach him from here, but tell him thanks." Obe said, "Yep, one speedster and a healer. See you in the morning over and out." Wanyenyekevu, still laughing, replied, "Over and out." A knock on his door awakens Wanyenyekevu. "Super is ready if you're hungry," it was Queen. Opening the door, he said, "I didn't even know I had drafted off. Let's go, I'm starving." Queen looked at Wanyenyekevu. "You are a proud Wakatilians," he said that, "but you hang out with many non-Wakatilians." "Boy." Wanyenyekevu smiled. "Do you remember when Sabaoth told Peter and Paul to go get the Gentiles in the Torah?" Queen sighed. "Yes." Wanyenyekevu stopped. "This is the same thing. Sabaoth wants all of us, not just on a group of people, but all who are willing to receive him." They continued walking before Dark Eagle greeted them at the back door. "How are the commendations back there?" Wanyenyekevu smiled, "Very comfortable. It drifted off to sleep, and didn't even know it." Dark Eagle laughs, "Yeah, I know. I hope you love beef stew." Wanyenyekevu smiled, "Yes, I do." While eating, they all discussed the plans for the next day and made all the arrangements for the entire kitty to see, and here the event early the next day. Obe and the rest of Wanyenyekevu's warriors arrived at Dark Eagle's home and went over their plans. Afterward, Wanyenyekevu said, remember, let everyone in, but don't allow anyone out, for the honest we are looking for, will try to escape. Because they will think Dark Eagle is dead, so when he approaches the podium, it should be when you see movement. The people started arriving at the old zoo, Raid Park, where they held their community meetings at Saba mani kame in, and bisa 8 na madakika 30 a few strangers slowly entered the arena. The elders and Dark Eagle's son sat at a table behind a podium. Dark Eagle's eldest son, Alemwa, approached the stand. We have a unfortunate and disappointing news to tell you, but be of good cheer, for we have a exciting news from Sabaoth as well. Myself, Kisoma, and Nipahem, Sabaoth has ordained us as your new elders and has changed our names too. He pointed to them as he continued Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Now, after a lengthy meeting this morning, some elders will continue to guide us, but many will step aside and allow Sabaoth to have his way. Kisoma approached the podium as Alemwa continued, "No a word from me brother Kisoma, or Shali. Say Meshach." Clearing his throat, Meshach paused as he looked around. Sabaoth must clear the way for his new plan for us, and by doing so, there are some changes that must be made for Sabaoth to do so according to Sabaoth's new plans. All of Tutson is officially ours. The crowd roared with excitement. This land and more shall be spread out and given to each family. But with new land comes new laws that must be carried out to the letter. These new laws will be handed to you with the deeds to the land. And now from our little brother Nipahem or shall Isai a big bad negro, I'm sorry, Abednego. The crowd laughed as they cheered for Nipahem. Igwes even though I'm the youngest, I'm also the biggest, so I'll take that big brother. Laughter was heard throughout the cheerful crowd. Well, Igwes I'll have to be the bearer of the bad news. The group quickly became silent. There are enemies among us who look like us, act like us, and speak like us. No, it's not the strangers you see on the ski crafts. Those are our friends. No, they are family. They allowed us to retrieve the gifts we present to you today. Know this, and they are not only wakatilians but computans and anakatas as well. It shocked the crowd as he continued, "These people are called mestizos because they are joined together by Sabaoth, for Sabaoth, and so shall we. Sabaoth wants us all to be as one in him. We have traders in our midst who have betrayed us for monetary gain and for a position to sit at the table with Satan himself. They are our own people who live and eat with us. They are the one who has betrayed us." Wanyenyekevu and Dark Eagle stood behind a veil and waited for their cue, for the crowd did not see them. Wanyenyekevu heard a voice on his communication de vite. Wanyenyekevu, there is movement from the crowd, some are trying to leave. It was Jome. Wanyenyekevu replied, "Gather them as quickly and quietly as possible and planted them all in jail." Abednego was still speaking. "We have two new leaders who shall govern us and guide us to this new way in which Sabaoth has instructed. My father, Dark Eagle, and our new friend Wanyenyekevu of Louisiana." Dark Eagle and Wanyenyekevu walked from the veil, and there were spots of confusion around the crowd, but it was quickly and quietly resolved. Dark Eagle approached the podium. "Our meeting yesterday was an ambush to murder the elders, my family, and me, but Sabaoth sent us Mlezi. And wanyenyekevu to intervene in this plan and ordered us to clean house. Saying, those whom you call your family shall be your enemies, and those whom you have called your enemies shall be your family. Think not that your family had become your enemies, for they were your enemies before they were even your family. Don't let the sadness consume you, knowing they have already conspired to kill you as we speak. We have read the story of how Judas betrayed Msheka. He had the wisest teacher, he benefited from his teachings and learned more than anyone here to die. Yet, his heart was not pure. This is how those who live amongst us shall forever be, for no one you must be of a pure heart. Pointing to an elder, dark ugly side, weeping trane, here and a few others, has been trafficking our people to the Albanians and we depose for drugs, sex, and organs. They have been experimenting on how to delete our rat from the planet rogue Urdna. He would be justified if he would walk up to him now and cut his throat from ear to ear, but that is too good for him. He must endure such pain, to cry out for death, but death will not hear his cries. All those you heard in the background are probably also involved. Myself and wanyenyekevu have agreed that life in prison will be better suited for the men. We lock them up here and ship them to. Turning to wanyenyekevu, he asked, what do you call it again? Wanyenyekevu, standing by his side, Madinat al-Tanwir, it's a training camp where the prison is being built as we speak. Thank you, Dark Eagle, again, my name is Wanyenyekevu, and I was sent here bis about. Wanyenyekevu paused and looked at Kwenye, and the vision that Mlezi had shown him of his wife years ago flashes before him, as he continued, todo the will of Sabaoth, that was 5 years ago, and like Paul in the Torah, I travel and met money on the way. I started by myself to come here alone, but Sabaoth brought this people into my life along the way. Since I left, Sabaoth has unexpectedly brought many others into my life. Now, there are so many I have lost count. We have taken many cities and have converted many souls. The men on the ski-craft are truly warriors of Sabaoth, and cleaning house is what Sabaoth wants, and it is what he shall get. Waving his hands at Kwenye, is there anything you want to say? Kwenye walked up to the podium. If there is no justice, there will be no piety. Once we straighten out the details, we will have another meeting in 2 days or so. We will have dates ready for everyone from Pikachu Peak State Park to the Watchtower, Madinat al-Tanwir, and from Madinat al-Tanwir to Colonia and Huac. 489 miles of land, not just for us but for everyone that Wanyenyekevu and his men deem as family. I have to say, no I must emphasize, that everyone must pull their weight until there is peace again, so please be patient as we conduct our business. Justice first, then peace. May Sabaoth bless you and thank you for your time. They arrested 50 people and put them all in jail, but the people already in prison demanded to be seen by Dark Eagle, Wanyenyekevu. This is Daniel over. Daniel and Elisha tried to organize the jail while the people continued to shout, they wanted justice. Go ahead, Daniel, sighed Wanyenyekevu. We need Dark Eagle down here. Many are saying that weeping crane jailed them, and they are locked up in here with him. Dark Eagle overheard the conversation. Do you mean handling that? I must rush off to my house to get some paperwork and get organized. There is so much work to do. Wanyenyekevu sighed, Sura. He jumped on his ski craft and headed to the jail. It was dark outside, and wanyenyekevu saw men gather outside in a fence to his left and right as he walked down a corridor leading to the jail's entrance. Opening the gates, he saw a room filled with people chained to benches as some of the locals assisted Daniel and Elisha. Locking around and opening the doors to the entrance to the jail cells, wanyenyekevu asked, "We those that ligged down the hall, shine so brigid. One of dark earless men locked strangely, there are no liggets back there." Wanyenyekevu walked down the hall and saw the men in their cells. He overheard a man reading as he approached the ligget. "Dear Harriet, I am glad to know that the story of your eventful life has been written by a kind lady and that the same is soon to be published. You ask for what you do not need when you call upon me for a word of commendation. I need such words from you far more than you can need them from me." Wanyenyekevu stood there and let the man continue. There was something different about him, but wanyenyekevu listened as the man continued to read. "The midnight sky and the silent stars have been the witnesses of your devotion to freedom and of your heroism. Excepting John Brown of sacred memory, I know of no one who has willingly encountered more perils and hardships to serve our enslaved people than you have. Much that you have done would seem improbable to those who do not know you as I know you." Wanyenyekevu sighed, "That's the letter that Frederick Douglass wrote to Harriet Tubman." The man closed the book. "Yes, it is." Wanyenyekevu sighed, "Who are you, and what's up with you shining like a light?" "Oh, you say it. My name is Friedrich. It's an Afrikaans name from the old German Frederick, which means beautiful ruler. It is pronounced Fred Erich, and I'm from Azania, what used to be called South Africa. By the way, I have heard many pretty speeches before, beautiful words with lies and deceit mixed into them, but the words you uttered today had power. Even from here, it was but bicharon of Elohim. It means..." Wanyenyekevu interrupted, "Fear of God." Wanyenyekevu was impressed with the man's demeanor, tone, and attitude. Friedrich sighed, "Handle your business, and let's talk later." Wanyenyekevu sighed, "No, let me get you out of here." Grabbing the man's hand, Wanyenyekevu felt a burst of energy. "Watch yourself." Friedrich sighed, "I am filled with the Shekinah glory, but it's just a speck of a speck, for no man can contain the power of Sabbath. It would consume me if I weren't enlightened, and I would vediate the second it engulfed me." Wanyenyekevu smiles, "That's why you're glowing like a lighthouse." He turns to the guard, "Let this man out, feed him, and make him comfortable." Wanyenyekevu then touched and talked to the old prisoners and released all but two, making room for the new owners. Later that night, he met with Friedrich as he walked in. Friedrich said, "I am told by one of your warriors that you're an avid follower of history. Ever heard of Henry Goddard?" Wanyenyekevu said, "Henry Goddard?" Smiling, Friedrich said, "Yes, he started the Inhumane Psychology Research Laboratory, where Nazi-style experiments were carried out on innocent children in Vineland, New Jersey. It created the test and other idiotic ideas that held many of Sabbath's people back with his practices, just like Jim Crow and many more who were not of our race. We accomplished much, but got rewarded for none of it, like Solomon Linda, who wrote that song, The Lions Sleeps Tonight, that made millions. Yet, he nor his family got anything. The abuse, like the lynching of Marie Turner and her baby, or what about Ella Baker, the godmother of the civil rights movement, or Viola Desmond, a successful black businesswoman and entrepreneur who challenged segregation in a place that was once named Nova Scotia. She was the first black person and first non-royal woman on a Canadian banknote, or what about Natchez, Mississippi's Devils Punch Bowl? Obe walked be et tuseme is your name Friedrich of South Africa. Friedrich smiled. Oh yes, he had a bounty for you, but his was much larger, so he came after him first. Friedrich shook his head. God thing you did, no way all are here except one. Obe smiled as he would say, Sabaut is able. Wanyenyekevu said, indeed.